Right now, 1.1 million vehicles are under federal do not park orders because they might burn your house down while completely turned off. Not while driving, not while charging, just sitting in your garage. We're counting down all 12 today, and number 1 on this list doesn't have one fire risk. It has 2. Let's get into it. Number 12, Hyundai Kona Electric, 2019 to 2020. We're going to start with an EV because there is something deeply ironic about this one. You make a decision to go electric. You want to reduce your footprint, cut your gas bill, do something good for the environment. You pay extra for it. You feel good about it. And then the federal government sends you a letter telling you that your car is not safe to park in your own garage. That is exactly what happened to owners of the 2019 and 2020 Hyundai Kona Electric. The problem traces back to the LG Energy Solution battery cells inside these vehicles. These cells were found to have a manufacturing defect that created the potential for an internal short circuit, which can trigger what battery engineers call thermal runaway, a chain reaction where heat produces more heat and the whole battery pack ignites. This isn't a slow smolder. Lithium-ion battery fires burn extremely hot and are notoriously difficult to extinguish. The fires didn't just happen in the United States. There were documented cases in South Korea, Canada, and across Europe. It became a global incident. Hyundai's fix ultimately involved replacing the battery packs entirely, which is expensive, time-consuming, and tells you everything you need to know about the severity of the defect. If you bought a Kona Electric to help the planet, that's a noble goal. But until the recall repair is complete, the planet you need to protect first is your house. Number 11, Kia Seltos and Sportage, 2023 to 2024. Now we shift gears, literally, from electric to gasoline. And what's alarming about this one is not just the defect itself, but how long it went undetected. The 2023 and 2024 Kia Seltos and Sportage were recalled because of a faulty electric oil pump. In these engines, that pump is responsible for keeping critical components lubricated during low-speed operation. When it fails, you get metal-on-metal contact, heat buildup, and eventually a fire risk under the hood. Here's the part that should make any car buyer uncomfortable. This defect existed on the assembly line for approximately 8 months before it was caught. 8 months of vehicles rolling out the door with a component that didn't work correctly. That's not a random part failing in the field after years of use. That's a quality control failure at the factory level. Modern cars are extraordinarily complex. There are hundreds of suppliers feeding parts into every vehicle. And sometimes, as we'll see again and again on this list, that complexity creates gaps where problems can hide for a very long time. Kia issued a software update for some vehicles and outright part replacements for others. If you're driving one of these, check your VIN at NHTSA. Don't wait. Number 10, Ram 2500 HD and 3500 HD, 2022 to 2024. For a lot of people, a truck isn't a lifestyle accessory. It's a tool. It's how they make their living. Contractors, farmers, construction crews, tradespeople. These are people who buy a Ram 2500 or 3500 because they need a vehicle that can haul thousands of pounds, tow a trailer, and work every single day without fail. And they pay for that capability. We're talking about trucks that can push $80,000 fully loaded. So when NHTSA issued a recall on the 2022 through 2024 Ram 2500 and 3500 heavy duty for a fire risk connected to a fuel system component, the impact wasn't just inconvenience. For a lot of owners, it meant a critical piece of their operation was suddenly sitting in a dealer's service bay waiting for parts. The recall involves a fuel injection pump that can crack under thermal stress, potentially leaking fuel near ignition sources. A fuel leak near heat is a fire. On a vehicle this size, parked near a barn, a garage, or a job site, the consequences can be catastrophic. Ram has a strong, loyal customer base. And that loyalty gets tested hard when a brand new work truck, the one you're still making payments on, gets a do not park in an enclosed space order. Number 9, Hyundai Tucson, Palisade, and Sonata, 2023. This is where the story starts hitting closer to home for a lot of families. The Hyundai Tucson, Palisade, and Sonata are bread-and-butter family vehicles. These are the cars parked in suburban driveways all across the country. Parents driving kids to school, commuters heading to work, families loading up for weekend trips. The 2023 model year versions of these vehicles were flagged for a defect related to a hydraulic electronic control unit, the component that helps regulate the anti-lock brake system. In certain conditions, this unit can leak fluid internally and create a short circuit which generates heat and poses a fire risk even when the vehicle is parked and turned off. Think about what that means practically. You pull into your attached garage, you turn the car off, you go inside and go to sleep. And something continues to happen inside that vehicle without your knowledge or input. There's also a financial dimension to this that doesn't get discussed enough. Recalls of this nature absolutely affect resale value. You're making payments on a $50,000 SUV, and you cannot in good conscience tell a potential buyer, yeah, it's fine, when there's an open federal recall on it. That money doesn't just come back when the fix is applied. The market has a long memory. Number 8. BMW 3, 5, X and Z Series and Toyota Supra, 2019 to 2022. This one is fascinating from an automotive industry perspective and frustrating for the owners involved. In 2025, NHTSA issued Recall 25V636, covering a range of BMW vehicles, including the 3 Series, 5 Series, several X models, and the Z Series, as well as the Toyota Supra. If you're wondering what those two brands have in common, the answer is a single supplier, Denso. Denso is one of the world's largest automotive parts manufacturers. They supply components to dozens of major automakers globally. In this case, a fuel pump component produced by Denso was found to have a defect that could lead to fuel leakage and a potential fire risk. And here's the lesson embedded in that fact. When you buy a BMW, you're buying a BMW brand, BMW design, and BMW assembly. But inside that car are parts from a global network of suppliers you've never heard of. When one of those suppliers makes a mistake, it doesn't just affect one brand, it cascades across every nameplate that used their part. German engineering, Japanese engineering, meticulous attention to detail, and yet one faulty component from a shared supplier can compromise all of it simultaneously. For owners of affected vehicles, it's cold comfort that the car next to them at the dealership service center has a completely different badge and the same exact problem. Number 7. Hyundai Tucson, 2022 to 2024. Here we are with the Tucson again, but this time for a completely different reason, and honestly, this one might be the most frustrating recall on the entire list. The 2022 through 2024 Hyundai Tucson was recalled for a fire risk associated with tow package wiring harnesses. Specifically, and this is the part that's hard to swallow, harnesses that were dealer installed as add-on accessories. These owners specifically asked for the tow package. They paid extra for it. They went to the dealership, they had the work done, they drove off feeling good. And the problem is that the wiring harness for that tow package, when installed improperly or when exposed to moisture intrusion over time, can create an electrical short and a fire risk at the rear of the vehicle. You paid for the upgrade that caused the recall. Now, to be clear, Hyundai and the dealers involved are responsible for the fix, and owners should absolutely get that taken care of at no cost. But there's an extra sting here. This isn't a factory defect hidden deep in the engineering. This is something that was added to the car after the fact, at a place where you were supposed to be able to trust the work. Check your Tucson. If you have a dealer-installed tow package on a 2022 through 2024 model, this recall may apply to you. Number 6. Chevrolet Bolt EV and EUV, 2017 to 2022. Now we enter a different tier of this list. This is where the numbers get enormous. The Chevrolet Bolt recall is one of the most expensive automotive recalls in American history. $1.8 billion. General Motors, in cooperation with LG Energy Solution, the same battery supplier connected to the Kona electric recall, had to address a battery defect across virtually the entire production run of the Bolt EV and EUV, covering model years 2017 through 2022. The technical issue was a manufacturing defect inside the battery cells, torn anode tabs, and folded separator paper. Either defect alone could cause problems. Together, they created the conditions for internal short circuits and thermal runaway fires. The recall was so serious that General Motors initially told Bolt owners not to charge above 90% capacity. Then they said to charge only when someone is home. Then parking garages across the country started posting "No Chevrolet Bolts Allowed" signs, and some of those signs are still up. Owners were told to keep their cars 50 feet away from any structure. 50 feet from any structure. In a parking garage. In an apartment complex. Think about the lifestyle disruption that creates. GM and LG eventually committed to replacing the battery modules on every affected vehicle. That's a massive undertaking. And while many owners have received their replacements, the scale of this recall set a new benchmark for what happens when EV battery defect isn't caught early enough. Number 5. Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid, 2017 to 2021. If the Bolt recall is a story about scale, the Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid is a story about persistence, and not in a good way. The Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid was one of the first plug-in hybrid minivans on the market. A practical, family-friendly vehicle that could run on electricity for short trips and fall back on gasoline for longer ones. Parents loved it, and then the fire started. The first major recall action came in 2020. There was a software issue and battery management concern that could lead to underhood fires. Stellantis, the parent company of Chrysler, issued the recall and pushed a fix. The fires kept happening. They came back in 2022 with an updated remedy. More software patches, more inspections, more dealer service, visits for frustrated owners. The fires kept happening. By 2024, there was a third round of recall action, 3 separate attempts to fix the same fundamental problem. And between those rounds, certain ferry services on Lake Michigan, yes, actual boat ferries, banned Chrysler Pacifica hybrids from boarding because of the fire risk they posed in an enclosed vehicle deck. That is an extraordinary measure. Ferry operators making a business decision that your car is too dangerous to put on their boat. For Pacifica hybrid owners, this has been years of uncertainty, multiple dealer visits, and lingering doubt about whether the problem is truly resolved. If you own one, do not assume a previous recall repair means you're clear. Check the NHTSA database with your VIN to confirm your specific vehicle is fully remedied. Number 4. Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe 2022 to 2026. We are in the top 4 now, and this is where plug-in hybrid technology starts to dominate the list in a very uncomfortable way. The Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe is a luxury plug-in hybrid SUV. Depending on configuration, these vehicles can run $75,000. Buyers chose this vehicle because they wanted the off-road credibility of a Grand Cherokee combined with the fuel efficiency of electric capability. They wanted the best of both worlds. What they got was a recall telling them not to charge the battery. The battery pack in the 4xe has been found to have potential thermal management issues that create a fire risk during and after charging. And the NHTSA guidance, while the investigation and remedy are worked out, is essentially don't plug it in. A plug-in hybrid that you cannot plug in is just a hybrid, and a heavy one at that. The battery system adds significant weight to the vehicle, and without the electric range, you're paying the fuel efficiency penalty of carrying around hundreds of pounds of battery that you're not allowed to use. The financial math here is painful. You paid a premium for plug-in capability. That premium is now dormant, and you're still making payments on it. Number 3. Jeep Wrangler 4xe 2020 to 2025. If you think the Grand Cherokee 4xe owners have it rough, let's talk about the Wrangler 4xe, because this vehicle has now been through 3 separate recalls for variations of the same underlying problem. 3 recalls, same vehicle, same general issue. The Jeep Wrangler 4xe is specifically designed for people who want to take their vehicle off the pavement and into the wild. Trails, mud, rocks, streams, the Wrangler is built for adventure. The 4xe added plug-in hybrid capability to that formula, letting buyers run on electric power in the great outdoors while reducing their fuel consumption. But the battery system has proven to be persistently problematic. The first recall addressed certain thermal management concerns. The second recall revisited the issue after it wasn't fully resolved. The third recall, covering 2020 through 2025 model years, is the most recent acknowledgement that after years of trying, the problem hasn't gone away. The irony is almost poetic. The car that's supposed to take you anywhere is currently grounded. The adventure vehicle is parked outside indefinitely, waiting for a fix that has taken years to produce. 4xe owners specifically, there is growing frustration, and rightfully so. At some point, 3 recall attempts on the same problem is not bad luck. It's a design issue that should have been solved before these vehicles ever left the factory. Number 2. Volvo EX30 2025 to 2026. I want you to think about what it means to buy a brand new car. You save up, you research, you walk into the dealership, you sign the paperwork, you drive it home with 17 miles on the odometer. You feel good. Now imagine that within weeks of that purchase, you get a recall notice. That is the reality for owners of the Volvo EX30, a brand new, fully electric compact SUV covering model years 2025 and 2026. This car just came out, and it's already on this list. The issue is related to a phenomenon called lithium plating, which occurs inside the battery cells under certain charging and temperature conditions. When lithium ions don't absorb properly into the anode material, they can deposit as metallic lithium on the anode surface. Over time, that metallic lithium can form dendrites, tiny needle-like structures that can pierce the separator between electrodes and cause an internal short circuit. That short circuit leads to thermal runaway. Thermal runaway leads to fire. Volvo's immediate response has been to cap the usable range of affected EX30s at approximately 70% of their rated capacity through a software update. They've artificially limited what these cars can do, while a more permanent hardware remedy is developed. This is the brand that has built its entire identity around the word safety. Volvo, the safest cars on the road. And here, on a brand new model, they're asking owners to accept reduced capability because the battery might catch fire. That's a significant brand moment. And for the buyers who chose Volvo specifically because of that safety reputation, it's a deeply uncomfortable one. Number 1. Jeep Wrangler and Grand Cherokee 4xe 2024 to 2025. We've arrived. And I promised you this one was different, so let me explain why. Every other vehicle on this list has one fire risk, one defect, one system that failed. What earns the Jeep Wrangler 4xe and Grand Cherokee 4xe the top spot, specifically the 2024 and 2025 model years under NHTSA Recall 25V766, is that these vehicles have two completely separate, completely independent fire risks. The first you already know about, the plug-in hybrid battery system that has now been recalled 3 separate times. Thermal management issues. Don't charge it. Park outside. The second is entirely different. Sand contamination in the engine block. During the casting process, sand used in the manufacturing mold was never fully removed before assembly. That residual sand entered the engine's oil passages, circulates through the oiling system, degrades lubrication, and generates heat. In a worst-case scenario, that heat buildup creates an engine fire risk that is completely separate from the battery fire risk. Battery fire risk, engine fire risk, same vehicle, same time. A $60,000 vehicle with 2 distinct ways to burn your car, your garage, or your home. The engineering and quality control failures required to produce this outcome are staggering. If you own a 2024 or 2025 Jeep Wrangler 4xe or Grand Cherokee 4xe, you need to take action today. Before you do anything else, go to NHTSA. If your car is on this list, park it outside today. Call your dealer and get on the schedule for the repair. Save every document, every service record, every email. And check your insurance policy so you're not finding out what's covered after something has already burned. Most of these vehicles will never catch fire, but the worst time to discover an open recall is after the fact. If you own one of the cars on this list, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your experience. Share this with someone who needs to see it. I'll see you in the next one.